So welcome to Greenbush. Thank you for being here. Can you tell us just a little bit more about your presentation that you did at the conference today?
Well, my major presentation that I did today was actually designed to help teachers really understand the state's test specifications. Often they call those the flip charts. And to recognize that the content in those is important, and it's important to provide the instruction that's going to match that, and it's important for kids to master that content. So how are we going to work with that? And we even got around to thinking about designing some multiple choice, writing some multiple choice items to sort of work from the items that are going to be presented to us or provided to us through, in December, they're going to put out those formative items out there. But even with those items, it doesn't really match everything in terms of the scope of some of those indicators. And so what's our plan going to be for identifying additional test items or writing a test items to fill those holes?
Great. Kim, looking across at the social studies, across K-12, what do you see as some of the I guess, major challenges for a classroom teacher, and then how those teachers are addressing those challenges?
Sure. Well, I think one of the major challenges is social studies, especially at the elementary level, but even in some degrees our middle school and high school people, by not being an AYP area, we've kind of been floating out here, operating along, and doing okay, but we haven't had a real fire behind us lately. And unfortunately, and I think we see by the attendance today at this first conference, that we're sort of back on the radar screen, and I guess assessment really drives sort of instruction, and it drives us thinking our practices. And so I think one of the challenges we're going to have is to make sure we're prepared for what's just been put on our plate with assessment. And also as teachers, that means getting expert with that content that's going to be tested. And I think sometimes they think they understand a particular thing. For example, we talked about supply and demand and has influenced labor. And on face value, that's one thing. But when you go look at those tested indicators a little more deeply, you recognize there's more to this than maybe the way you've been typically covering it in class. And it means we have to sort of buff up and hone in on and drive our expertise as teachers so we can plan, identify, and deliver the appropriate and exciting and impactful instruction that students need. And so it's not just, well, we've always taught that. There really is something more to it in terms of the alignment and expectations, and they need to be on top of that game.
Well, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because I talked to a couple of the teachers that attended today, and a couple of things that they said in the handful that I talked to was that they really enjoyed it because they felt like they left today with something tangible that they could take right back into the classroom, whether it was something pedagogical or whatever. It's something that they could take and implement tomorrow.
Good.
If they wanted to.
Yes, so. And I think that's always a goal of these. And it was exciting because, again, I had to say this, I'm in a different role than I used to be. I got a pinch hit for Lynn Vasquez today in the opening. She couldn't be with us, but as 8 years as a state social studies specialist, and now moving at Auburn-Washburn as a curriculum coordinator, I've been working the math and the reading and those other subject areas as well. It was fun to be back in a room with social studies educators for a lot of reasons, but among those is, though we're a little nervous about what's coming with assessment, I think there's a bit of excitement and that, that our subject area is going to be back out there and it counts. Our administrators and different folks are going to be sort of giving us these professional development opportunities in time. And I mean, there's a whole set of expectations that come with it, but there's some level of excitement, I think, that was in the air today as well.
That's great. That's great to hear. And obviously you're at Auburn-Washburn. If anybody from the workshop today or anybody else would like some information on social studies or what your expertise is, what's a good resource, or how can they contact you?
Well, I think getting a hold of me is, our website is Auburn-Washburn, USD437.net. My email is a good way to do that. You can get that by doing a Google search and finding our website. And it's kind of a different one. It's rasmukim@USD437.net, which is RASMUKIM. So that's one way, and I'd be happy if someone email me or want to give me a call. I always find I'm working with teachers in my district now. We're trying to accomplish the same things, and having that exchange helps me recognize what people are going through too, and helps me be more hopefully on top of my game within my district and in collaboration with our staff there. So I would be open to contact, and I also did offer as a parting shot, if you will, on my sessions on item writing, that if they tried a few, I said, I'm not going to edit 100 of them, but if you want to send 8, 12 or so, email them to me. I'd be happy to kind of print them off, edit them, and give them some pointers back and fax them back to them. So I did leave that as a tangible option today as well.
Maybe some of them will take the bait and take you up on your offer. That's right. Hey, Kim, it's great to have you at Greenbush today. Thank you for coming and pinch hitting,
yes.
Obviously. We appreciate it, and we know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending some of it at Greenbush with us today.
It was fun to be back in Greenbush land. You bet.